12-ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-ounce Sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120ZE and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sports book. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
Because you want me, can I tell you something right now, folks? Here's what I have to tell you all right now. Now, before I get into the game recap of the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens, on Thursday, I said that the Baltimore Ravens, on my show, were going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. But for whatever reason, on Sunday morning, I woke up saying, no. I post on my Twitter, I post my Facebook, bet the Cincinnati Bengals, you can thank me later. And everyone is like, oh, Glenn, you're going to be so wrong. We're going to be laughing at you 3 hours from now. Well, who's the last one laughing? Because I got a chant for you. Hoo-day, baby. How about those Cincinnati Bengals beating the Baltimore Ravens? And I know I was wrong on the air, but yesterday, I told you so. And once again, I was right when it comes to my gut feeling and all that stuff. Want to know what I happened to find so funny today? And it happened to be yesterday, too. I was texting my friend who's a Baltimore Ravens fan. I was telling him the Bengals are going to win. You're going to lose. They lost. I kept texting him, and I didn't hear a peep from him once yesterday about the Baltimore Ravens. And he'll be like, oh, you be quiet. Worry about those New York Giants. Yeah, you can say that to me when you're winning, but I've been facing the facts when the New York Giants lose this year. I've got on New York Giants rants. Maybe I'll get some angry Baltimore Ravens fans on this show today. Those Ravens fans were probably too busy and partying down on a boat on a Halloween special this weekend. That's probably why the Baltimore Ravens lost yesterday against the Cincinnati Bengals. But that's just a very weird superstition on my end and a part of the reason why I took the Bengals last second in a bet over the Ravens. But now let's get to the most important thing from yesterday, the Ravens. The Bengals 41-17 over the Ravens. Want to know what's interesting? The Cincinnati Bengals are in first place in the AFC. Not in the AFC North. They're in first place in the AFC. It's fascinating how in just 2 off seasons, this franchise has turned it around. No people are critical. Our head coach, Zach Taylor. How could you keep doubting this guy if they have shown week in and week out improvements? They're 5-2. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. And can we start seriously talking about Joe Burrow, the Harper and Soul of the Cincinnati Bengals as an MVP candidate? Can we start talking about it? Dude goes into hostile Baltimore, throws for 416 yards yesterday and 3 touchdowns. And we're just going to sit here like Joe Burrow's a nobody? This dude just won a national championship 2 years ago at LSU. He was on his way to winning Offensive Rookie of the Year last year had he not torn his ACL. Now he gets his buddy Jamar Chase, who's by far going to run away with the Offensive Rookie of the Year, puts up 8 for 201 yards and a touchdown, including an 82-yard touchdown. Now it's only 2017 at the time. And then that touchdown happens, and Baltimore cannot recover. Can we also give some love to the Bengals defense, who sacked Lamar Jackson 5 times? And I actually don't think the Ravens offensive line played that bad yesterday. I just think that those sacks was a lot of coverage sacks, and a lot of those sacks by Lamar Jackson, it just happened, the Bengals just happened to run into him. And the one thing is, they stayed in their lanes for the most part. Now, I'm not going to overreact too much about the Baltimore Ravens, because there's still a threat in the AFC. It's wide open. There's no doubt about it. But this was the first divisional game for the Ravens. And another instance I knew the Ravens were not going to win yesterday. Number one, on NFL Network, I saw the last time they showed the last time that the Bengals beat the Ravens was actually that Andy Dalton to Tyler Boyd game. It was. And that was when they knocked out the Ravens. Cincinnati was playing spoiler. But Cincinnati ain't going to be looking to play spoiler this year. They're looking to make the playoffs, and you cannot dismiss the fact that they are a legit AFC contender. I would have said that to you 2 weeks ago, but the Cincinnati Bengals are for real, at least for this year. I thought they were not going to be a pushover. I said at max they were going to be 7-10. It looks like this team has the talent to finish 12-5 and go from worst to first. This team is legit. It doesn't look like they beat themselves, and they could have easily beat the Green Bay Packers a couple weeks ago, too. This team, they are buttoned up. They are sharp. The worst they looked was in week 2 at the Chicago Bears, but that was early in the year. Remember when they were down 4? I think the changing moment of the year for the Bengals was when they were down 14-0 at halftime against Jacksonville. So they had to wake up. Fans were booing, were like, oh, same old bungle Cincinnati. No, this is not the same old Cincinnati Bengals as long as Joe Burrow stays healthy. This guy's a proven winner. This guy is a leader. Everyone in the locker room follows his example. And the coaching staff trusts him with the game on the line. So I'm telling you, and some people want to say Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the AFC North today, but that is too premature. Let's not get some recency bias over here about that. I still like Lamar Jackson. He's still playing as a top 10 quarterback, but Joe Burrow's name has to be at least in the MVP conversation. And if you want to dismiss the fact, shame on you, as Michael Crazy Carvalho says. All right, moving on for the Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase connection. Remember, not only it's happening with the Cincinnati Bengals now, but it happened when LSU beat Clemson National Championship. All right, Kansas City Chiefs and the Tennessee Titans. I had to shut off First Take today. I am so sick and tired of these people, except for Colin Cowherd, giving some damn respect on Ryan Tannehill's name. And I thought because Kansas City had the worst rushing defense, they're just going to run the ball with Derrick Henry all game long, run it. That's not what offensive coordinator Todd Downing did. They played action. Tannehill throws the ball in the money, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. The fact that we want to continue disrespecting Ryan Tannehill when he has to make the throws that he has to, you don't know the game of football. You simply do not. Ryan Tannehill can absolutely be the quarterback to win this team a Super Bowl. Now he may not be one of those top tier guys like a Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And now we throw Joe Burrow's name in there and Patrick Mahomes. But Ryan Tannehill's name, I said it, he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. I absolutely trust Ryan Tannehill with the game on the line. If he has to make the throw, he will do it. And I know that all starts with Derrick Henry, the RBR of this team. I'm just saying that Derrick Henry didn't even eclipse 100 yards rushing yesterday. Andrew Mann had over 100 yards receiving. How are you going to stop three physical freaks of nature and Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones? How are you going to stop this when you're opposing defense? And this is exactly why I picked the Tennessee Titans to win it all. And I'm going to tell you this. There's a reason why they brought in Bud Dupree on defense. They signed him for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Free agency gave him all that money, 5 years, $72 million. He had an impact, had a sack yesterday. And Landry, now he has 7.5 on the year, 8.5, whatever the sack total is. And he's having a career year. And don't forget D'Amico Autry, who also had another 2 sacks. And Mike Vrabel, maybe the best thing happened to this football team was losing the New York Jets. And they're all sorts of button up. The Tennessee Titans can absolutely put the AFC South Division on ice this weekend if they beat the Indianapolis Colts. They won't have to worry. They'll have a nice 4-game cushion, technically 5-game cushion, because they will have beaten the Indianapolis Colts twice. And I'm going to get to them a little bit later because I like the way Carson Wentz is playing. And I know divisional games, anything can happen. This is the trap game for the Tennessee Titans this week, and I'm saying that right now. And I like them a lot, top 5, top 10 team, wherever you want to put them. But you have to put some respect on Ryan Tannehill's name. You do. And if you don't, you can't sleep in, you deserve to lose. I'm sorry. But you've beaten the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs in the last 6 days. Everyone wants to talk about, did the Buffalo Bills make the wrong play call on 4th down? And what's wrong with the Kansas City Chiefs? My goodness. I don't simply get you all. You keep disrespecting the 615 and the yeehaw, welcome to Nashville, Tennessee, down in the South. That's a party town. And one of my friends yesterday was actually at that Kansas City Chiefs Tennessee Titans game. I actually asked him if he was at that Hockey Talk Central and Hampton Social and all that fun stuff down in Nashville, Tennessee. And he's like, yeah, he's checked it out. Well, Kansas City Chiefs probably got too much caught up in it the night before, and that's why they fell flat down on their faces. But most importantly, the Kansas City Chiefs have no defense. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes is a cocky, arrogant SOB. Tyreek Hill hasn't been the same this year. Travis Kelce, you see him complaining for a flag yesterday when there is none? And then did you see David Long completely mock him? Did you see that? That was absolutely hysterical. Kansas City Chiefs, you go to a Super Bowl, lose to a Super Bowl, you get all caught up in the hype, and you're not even potentially close to sniffing the playoffs. Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Chargers are ahead of you. And the only team that you're better than the AFC South is the Denver Broncos. Good luck catching up. Good luck catching up. Because Mike Vrabel's a better head coach right now than Andy Reid's been. Before I get into my next segment here, go to 12-Ounce Sports Network. No, excuse me. 12-Ounce Sports Radio.com/sporting goods to support my articles. www.12ouncesportsradio.com/sporting goods. I am live on Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. You can follow me on my Twitter page at Glenn Kaplan13. Live on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific. And Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific. I am live on Twitter, YouTube, Also, only on 12 Sports TV and Single TV channel 761. And if you would like to call live into the show, 347-831-1945. Again, 347-831-1945 at the top right hand of the screen over there, right over that beautiful picture over there. And as I do on every show, thank you, Cody Jansen, Lou Gamlin, Philly Pete, Michael Crazy Carvallis, Mitch Bernstein, and I know how much you love your World Series starting tomorrow and all the great work you do. And I'm going to tell you, I will predict my World Series pick in a little bit. Now let's get into the next game here, the Carolina Panthers, New York Giants. There are a few things from this game that are absolutely driving me nuts. Now let's go from the New York Giants side of things. Number one, after Daniel Jones absolutely completely bombshelled last week against the Los Angeles Rams, the New York media, after beating the Carolina Panthers, with no Andrew Thomas, Saquon Barkley, no Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, or Sterling Shepard, are now anointing him as a franchise quarterback. I mean, there are a lot of people that are still up in the air about it. I'm one of them, kind of. But I could say not really, because I wrote about an article about it earlier today on here, so you can go check it out. Daniel Jones. Now, I wrote last week about what quarterback they should draft in 2022. Now I'm like, on the scale of they shouldn't draft a quarterback. My mind changes every week, and I don't know why. Probably because from a fan, it's a week-to-week thing. It's like, you can't make up your mind about, it's like, what do you want for dinner tonight? I can't make up my mind. I'm not sure what I want. Tonight I want this. Tomorrow I want that. It's just like, I don't know what I want. So, remember when I said last week that Eli Manning had a game against Jacksonville Jaguars over a decade ago without some key wide receivers, and he won with just Mario Manahan and Kevin Boss? That was probably the signature moment yesterday for Daniel Jones. A completely horrendous offensive line. You want to know who else he had yesterday at receiver? Let's see. Evan Ingram's been terrible at tight end. He also had, and I keep messing up the name for some reason, Dante Pettis. I want to say Davis Mills, but he's the quarterback, or Davis Sills. I don't know why I want to say that. And Colin Johnson. So Jones' only touchdown pass was to Dante Pettis from 5 yards out in the third quarter. Danny Dimes had 203 yards passing, also had another 20 yards rushing. You know, the score was only 5-3 at halftime. And then there was a play later in the third quarter. It was like under 5 minutes to go in the third. Daniel Jones makes a one-handed diamond catch that got the fans out of the seat like, let's go, Giants. And then what happened to win easily? 25-3. So I'm not going to give Joe Judge, Jason Garrett, the offense coordinator, and defense coordinator Patrick Graham and general manager Dave Gettleman a pass. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to say is that, and here goes the media again in New York, and this is shows how incompetent John Mara is. The fact that the Giants won a game yesterday, now we are saying, well, is Joe Judge's job safe and John Mara won't fire him? Let's hope that Gettleman is still God. Dear Giants fans should start a GoFundMe page. We'll go pay for Dave Gettleman's retirement home in Cape Cod. But let's just hope that they don't use Kevin Abrams as the next general manager. Bring an outside guy like Joe Horowitz for the Baltimore Ravens, or a different guy for the Kansas City Chiefs. Even guys like from San Francisco 49ers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Red Dots for the Indianapolis Colts, who's been under the wings of Chris Ballard. I'm going to get to the Colts in a minute. Well, let's go to the side of Carolina Panthers. The New York Giants, want to know how many sacks they had yesterday? They had 6 sacks. Azeez Ojulari had 2.5. He's up to 5 on the year. Leonard Williams had 1.5 sacks. Jabril Peppers, Dexter Lawrence each had 1. And Sam Darnold gets benched for P.J. Walker. It's obvious 2 things. Number 1, Daniel Jones is more of a franchise quarterback than Sam Darnold is. It obviously was not the New York Jets. It's obvious that Christian McCaffrey makes Sam Darnold good. And number 2, P.J. Walker's probably not any worse. Despite Matt Rule saying that Sam Darnold are starting next week against the Atlanta Falcons. Here's the thing. There are two other things I want to discuss. Number one, the New York Giants play the Kansas City Chiefs next week. If the New York Giants beat the Kansas City Chiefs, I cannot wait to see Twitter burn down. And I can't wait to see the expression on what Nick Wright is going to have to say. Huge Kansas City Chiefs fan, that's number one. Number two, on the side of the Carolina Panthers, they are now in play for Deshaun Watson. They are now in play for Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans. The Miami Dolphins, I know, were rumored. But Dave Tepper, the owner, they're going to swing for the fences. And the Carolina Panthers fans like, fire Matt Rule. And this and that. I'm like, oh my gosh, and fire Joe Brady? No, you don't do that. It's Sam Darnold. Maybe he should have been kept Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know. So we'll see if they get Deshaun Watson for the Houston Texans or not. Now, Indianapolis Colts versus the San Francisco 49ers. Colts over the 49ers, 30-18. Is Carson Wentz back? I think he is. The first 2 weeks, Wentz had some really bad red zone turnovers. They should be on a 3-game winning streak. They should have beaten the Baltimore Ravens on the road, but they didn't, so they're only on a 2-game win streak. But Carson Wentz, despite that one turnover, it was basically a monsoon yesterday in San Francisco with all the heavy rain and the high winds. Carson Wentz outdueled Jimmy Garoppolo. He outdueled Jimmy Garoppolo, and Carson Wentz, yeah, he only had 150 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. Carson Wentz is starting to find his mojo. He's not going to be the MVP he once was or close to that caliber play that he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. But if he can stay in that top 15 range at quarterback, they'll be more than serviceable for the offensive philosophy that the Indianapolis Colts have. There's another, 107 yards rushing for Jonathan Taylor. When the Colts picked off Jimmy Garoppolo in the fourth quarter, I love the play call. Remember when they sat back 2 weeks ago against the Ravens? Frank Reich's like, no, we are not sitting back. We are doing play action. We are going deep to Michael Pittman. And Pittman catches it for a 28-yard touchdown. And Pittman basically outbodies the San Francisco 49ers cornerback. And Carson Wentz is dealing. So, and he also had a rushing touchdown. Had a touchdown to Molly Alley Cox from 7 yards out of first quarter. Helped me out in my fantasy matchup. So I'm very curious to see, because the Colts, if they beat the Tennessee Titans, they face, here's who their next 2 games are. After that, New York Jets, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we'll see. They got to try and win as many games as possible. I know Michael Corvallis has to be happy about that winning streak because he's a big Indianapolis Colts fan. I didn't check out the AM Drive too much today. But I am telling you, if the Indianapolis Colts get starting together a winning streak, I don't think they're going to win the division. I still think it belongs to Tennessee Titans. But the Colts will be a very dangerous team come December and January. I just tell you that right now. Everyone wants to say Kansas City Chiefs? No. The Indianapolis Colts are the team you have to keep an eye on at 3-4. I'm going to commercial break. I'll be right back.
Ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-ounce sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120OZE and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sports book. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
right, ladies and gentlemen, I am now back from commercial break. So, the next question I have here is, should the San Francisco 49ers bench Jimmy Garoppolo for Trey Lance? The answer is yes. The day that Trey Lance gets healthy is that the day he should see the field again. Jimmy Garoppolo had 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, and I also wrote about this on 12 Ounce Sports. So in case you want to check out my articles, go to 12OunceSportsRadio.com/sporting goods. Once again, that's 12OunceSportsRadio.com/sporting goods. And BetUS is our new betting partner. Also, we are live on 12 Ounce Sports, Quench Your Sports Thirst. 12 Ounce Sports, Quench Your Sports Thirst. We are live on Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. You can follow me on my Twitter page at GlennKaplan13. Live on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern /noon Pacific time. And Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time /8 a.m. Pacific time. I am live on Twitter, YouTube, only on 12 Ounce Sports TV, and Zingo TV channel 761. Call live onto the show, 347-831-1945. Again, 347-831-1945. And I was going to say about the San Francisco 49ers, you're 2-4. You want to know something? Everyone wants to say, oh, Kyle Shanahan, he's this genius coach. You know, he's been under 500 throughout his entire career, other than going for 13-3 to 1 year and become a Jimmy Garoppolo overthrow to Emmanuel Sanders throwaway to winning the Super Bowl. You do realize that, right? We crack up Kyle Shanahan to be this great coach, and they have an under 500 record. And General Manager John Lynch better have hit on Trey Lance. That's why they need a plan. They have a good offensive line. They have good receivers. They have good times, but they have injuries. Also, not to use it really as an excuse, more of their problems on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the secondary. That's where the problems for the San Francisco 49ers start. But I honestly think that Jimmy Garoppolo is not the answer. I think it's Trey Lance. That's what I just think it is moving forward for the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, they should have won. They could have won that game yesterday, but instead, you lose. So it doesn't help matters. All right, the Washington football team and the Green Bay Packers. So the Washington football team drops to 2-5. They are massively underachieving, despite the fact they sacked Aaron Rodgers a couple of times, but the Green Bay Packers just keep on winning. That's all they do. Won 24-10. And it seems like that week 1 debacle against New Orleans Saints, what was it, 38-3, is, as I always say, a distant memory ago. I'm telling you, the Green Bay Packers, it's a big game they have on the road on Thursday night. As for Washington, the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles are also 2-5 in the NFC East, and the Dallas Cowboys have a very nice cushion in the NFC East, and they are by far the best team in the NFC East, and have a chance to win a playoff game or two. An outside shot of a Super Bowl maybe, but we got to see. Mike McCarthy might hold them back, and offense coordinator Kellen Moore's tremendous. But there's not really much for me to touch on with the Green Bay Packers and Washington football team. We know Ron Rivera's squad's underachieving. We know Matt LaFleur's squad's very good. It's not surprising. Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers had this great connection. Robert Tonyan finally scores a touchdown on National Tight Ends Day yesterday. That was given credit by San Francisco 49ers tight end George Kittle. And then Alan Lazard had the other touchdown. There were a couple of times that Taylor Heinicke could have scored for the Washington football team in the game. But I kind of thought there was some poor officiating there that kind of screwed Washington out a little bit. But hey, things like that happen in the NFL. But it's not a surprise considering it was at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So, the Green Bay Packers, elite team in the NFC, the Washington football team, massive underachievers. Now let's get quickly Thursday night. What was it? The Denver Broncos and the Cleveland Browns, and Cleveland won 17-14. I actually got that exactly right. Denver needs to bench Teddy Bridgewater. Drew Lock can seriously not be any worse. He seriously cannot be any worse. They should have started Drew Lock at the beginning of the year. I mean, I don't get it. Denver, ever since winning Super Bowl 50 with that elite defense led by Von Miller, and Peyton Manning was basically a washed-up duck. And thank goodness that, speaking of Peyton Manning and Eli Manning will be back tonight on Monday Night Football. Thank goodness. And thank God, I'm so happy. And Drew Brees will be one of the guests tonight on Monday Night Football since New Orleans Saints are playing at the Seattle Seahawks. Can I quickly tell you what my record is this week? It's 10-2. I picked the New Orleans Saints over Seattle Seahawks. Okay. Enough me rambling. So in that 17-14 win, there was no Baker Mayfield due to a shoulder injury. It was Case Keenum was the starting quarterback. He was good enough. Maybe the Browns are going to trade Odell Beckham Jr. He's not been very good. He slipped up. And Jarvis Landry's not bad. D'Ernest Johnson is the story. Rush for 146 yards and 20 carries and a touchdown win for the Cleveland Browns. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were injured. Chubb was back at practice, so I may have to drop D'Ernest Johnson. I'm very curious to see. He was also an undrafted free agent in 2019. And the Cleveland Browns have a very good offensive line, but they also deserve credit for this. They know how to scout talent as of late. Ever since being 0-16 and 1-15 another year, they cleaned up a lot of things in the front office. And I think Kevin Stefanski's the right head coach. It's just a matter of, are they a good team and not a great team? Because they're on the outside looking in right now. And with the AFC North being a complete bloodbath, and it's probably the best division in football, that division is what I thought the NFC West was going to be this year. But instead, it's got top-heavy the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams. You have the San Francisco 49ers, Seattle Seahawks on the bottom. You could legit have a 9-8 team in the AFC North at fourth place, and they won't make the playoffs. That's how loaded that division is. Cleveland Browns have beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 straight. And the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns are in must-win territory. And Cleveland has beaten Pittsburgh 2 straight times. That rivalry on Twitter is absolutely real. The Browns cannot stand the Steelers. And I know the Steelers have it with the Ravens rivalry-wise. But it seems like Steelers fans and Browns fans and Bengals fans get on it more on Twitter than I see Steelers fans and Ravens fans. And that is something I cannot grasp or understand for the life of me why this is the case. I'm going to have to ask a Pittsburgh Steelers fan that question, and they could probably get back to me on it. All right, so moving on from the Denver Broncos Cleveland Browns game here as well. 17-14. Detroit Lions, Los Angeles Rams, 28-19. Detroit actually had a 13-3 lead. Dan Campbell was trying to pull out his stuff, fake special teams plays, but it didn't work. Yeah, 28-19, the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford gets his revenge on Detroit. And Jared Goff is now 0-14 when he does have Sean McVay as his head coach. Lastly, NFL-wise, what do I have here as number 8? I believe I have. Yes, Chicago Bears, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know Cody Jensen was completely hiding that the Chicago Bears were crushed 38-3 against Tom Brady. Tom Brady threw his 600th career touchdown pass against Chicago Bears. And Mike Evans threw in the stands, but one of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers equipment guys was able to get that football back. So there was a deal in place for it. And Mike Evans had 3 touchdowns yesterday. And it's amazing because he helped my fantasy team. Hopefully, Jameis Winston, Ian W's host me tonight. So, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are one of the best teams in the NFL at the moment. There are 5 teams in the NFL that all have 1 loss. all in the NFC. Arizona Cardinals, Green Bay Packers, Los Angeles Rams, Dallas Cowboys, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, it's very top-heavy. Arizona's the last undefeated team in the NFL. And a Thursday night game between the Green Bay Packers and the Arizona Cardinals is certainly going to be something else. That is going to be potentially, as Colin Cowherd was saying on FS1, The Herd today, Fox Sports 1, that is going to be potentially the game of the year. And now, speaking of Fox Sports, let's transition into the MLB World Series preview. And now all the games will be televised on Fox starting tomorrow. Number 3 in the National League, the Atlanta Braves will face the number 2 seed in the American League, the Houston Astros. Now, the Atlanta Braves, they knocked off the Milwaukee Brewers in 4 games, and the Los Angeles Dodgers number 1 seed in 6 games to get here. Houston Astros knocked off the number 3 seed Chicago White Sox in 4 games, and they knocked off the number 4 seed the Boston Red Sox in 6 games to get here. Now, I don't think necessarily the starting pitching matchup for this World Series is necessarily ideal on either side. Brad Snitker for the Atlanta Braves is the manager. And for the Houston Astros is Dusty Baker. And I hope Dusty Baker gets his first World Series ring. Now, 3 players to keep an eye on for the Atlanta Braves: Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, and Freddie Freeman. 3 players to keep an eye on for the Houston Astros. Let's go. Carlos Correa. I was going to say Alex Bregman, but Jose Altuve, and the ALCS MVP, Yordan Alvarez. And the NLCS MVP was Eddie Rosario. They basically got in for the Cleveland Indians in trade deadline for a song and a dance. And the bullpens, it's average. They're both average. I could see this World Series being very high offense. So, what is my pick for the 2021 World Series? The pick that I have for the World Series, I'm taking the Houston Astros in 5 games with the Atlanta Braves to win the World Series. I mean, I just can't. I'm a New York Mets fan, and I find it very hard to root for a National League East team. Because here's the thing. The Atlanta Braves win. That means them, Miami Marlins, the Washington Nationals, and the Philadelphia Phillies will have at least once in my lifetime, not seen at least the New York Mets win one yet. And I don't need to be reminded how much I don't like this sport, and this sport doesn't like me. I mean, there's always that one sport where you have that love-hate relationship. And staying on the MLB topic very quickly. There was an article on ESPN. It was actually, I saw it because Olivia Garvey on WJLA in Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., Southern Maryland was retweeting talking about baseball. It was like, enjoy baseball because there might be a lockout December 1st or December 2nd. And you know what I'm like to retweet? I'm like, I really don't care. I'm not really would miss baseball too much if it was shut down for a year. Because simply, few of the things you're going to have to talk about is a salary floor for next year where teams are going to have to spend at least $100 million. That goes for teams like the Cleveland Indians, now the Cleveland Guardians, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Baltimore Orioles, the Oakland Athletics, Tampa Bay Rays, teams that are under $100 million threshold, and you will have to stay at that $100 million the whole time. So that's where you're at. But it'll freeze on winter meetings, free agency, and it can even delay spring training next year. And the sport is such in a bad place right now. Can we also, during this meeting, seriously get rid of human umpires and go to robot umpires? Because you literally cost the Boston Red Sox, Because when it was 2-2 in Game 4, Red Sox had a 2-1 series lead. But it was 2-2 in the ninth inning, top of the ninth of game number 4. Should have been a strike 3 call. It would have been out of the inning. But Houston scores a lot of runs. They win the game. Boston can't recover. And it almost cost the Dodgers in Game 3. With the same kind of scenario, Atlanta scored runs, but Cody Bellinger saved them for a little bit. But then we knew the rest of history and Atlanta won. I would not care if baseball shut down for a year. And even if that meant the New York Mets not winning the World Series, delaying that for another year. Wanna know why? Because this sport is so unwatchable that I would rather watch NHL regular season hockey, NBA opening night. There are a lot of NFL football. There are so many. As I made the joke, number 1 NFL, number 2 NHL, number 3 NBA, number 4, ... 1000 MLB. That's all I have to say. Now let me get quickly into my top 10 NHL teams so far this season. I should have done 7 teams from the East and only 3 teams from the West, but I'm kind of being generous to the West. I gave them 4 teams, and I gave 6 teams from the East. So number 10, I have the Colorado Avalanche. Number 9, the St. Louis Blues. Number 8, the Boston Bruins. Number 7, the New York Rangers. Number 6, the Minnesota Wild. Number 5, the Carolina Hurricanes. Number 4, the Washington Capitals. Number 3, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Number 2, the Edmonton Oilers. And number 1, the Florida Panthers. Now, I was debating teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New Jersey Devils. There are so many legitimate, good teams in the Eastern Conference that is going to be a bloodbath this year, and especially in that Metropolitan Division. And don't even consider the Toronto Maple Leafs a top 10 team. You see how badly they got destroyed against Pittsburgh Penguins the other night, 7-1? That was so lovely as a Pittsburgh Penguins fan to see the Toronto media and its fan base completely blow up like that. Austin Matthews, Mitchell Martin, John Tavares are not in for the core. I'm sorry. You lost to freaking Evan Rodriguez, Drew O'Connor, Teddy Bluger, and Brian Boyle as the 4-line centermen. You had no Sidney Crosby. You had no Evgeny Malkin. You had no Jeff Carter, no Brian Rust, no Chris Letang. And you want to tell me these Toronto Maple Leafs, or should I say the Toronto Maple Leafs, are Stanley Cup contenders? I have 5 letters for you. GTFOH. That's what I got for you. Now let me repeat the top 10 teams again quickly. Number 10, the Colorado Avalanche. Number 9, the St. Louis Blues. Number 8, the Boston Bruins. Number 7, the New York Rangers. Number 6, the Minnesota Wild. Number 5, the Carolina Hurricanes. Number 4, the Washington Capitals. Number 3, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Number 2, the Edmonton Oilers. And number 1, the Florida Panthers. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of time here. Thanks for tuning in, Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the day and week as well. I'll be back on air on Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Monday night recap between New Orleans Saints and Seattle Seahawks. My NFL Week 8 preview, and amongst other NBA, NHL, MLB World Series topics updates. To support my show or my articles, go to 12ounceradio.com/sportinggoods, 12ounceradio.com/sportinggoods. Have a wonderful day, everyone.